All right, everybody, we are back. Welcome to the Relume live stream. Guys, it is so good to be live. I am here with Adam Mura and Dan Anisi. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good to be back. Very keen for today. It's bringing back old Relume days vibes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good memories. Very good memories. Yeah, good to be back and looking forward to I guess seeing Adam live in action. That's always a joy to watch, and just be back together. The band is back.
The band is back.
Together.
It's so good. Guys, it's actually been almost 2 years to the day the last time we streamed, or Relume's ever live streamed. So this is like a 2-year reunion. This is good. Okay, so why are we streaming? Well, Relume has had multiple requests for more live builds, right? And so we're doing it for the community. We're giving it to you, and it's always fun to watch Adam the Legend do his thing, and there's so many people that learns from him, and so that's why we're doing this. So what's happening today is we are running a masterclass in how to build world-class websites better, faster, and now in style with Relume's brand new style guide builder. So we're going to cover Relume's design philosophy, why they are doing this, best practices on how to use the style guide builder. We're going to see Adam's genius design process in Figma and Webflow. And then maybe, Dan, if you're generous, you can add in a little business hacks on how to raise your rates, charge more with this new feature. So for those watching live, thank you for watching. We want you to take advantage of this time. So ask all your questions in the chat. We'll be answering them with a Q&A at the end. All right. So with that, Adam, let's start with why did you guys build the style guide builder on top of the AI site builder? Let's start with that, and then we'll kick it over for you to screen share.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Josh. Good intro. So why did we build the style guide builder? So I guess we built it. It was like a natural progression of the job to be done when designing and building like a high-performing website, which is like our focus at Relume is how do we help professional web designers arrive at a website that's high quality, high performing, and we believe that design's a really important piece in that. And starting as an agency, Relume starting as an agency, 3 or 4 years ago, we reflect on that experience a lot and like the job to be done and what's required. And one of the like parts that I could like still to this day like brought me the most pain was like arriving at a visual direction on a project. I have experiences in the past where I was up to like the 8th revision of like a visual direction, and because it's such a subjective thing and because there's like so much creativity involved, it was draining. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to solve that job to be done. Once you have a sitemap and a wireframe, the next piece is arriving at that, focusing on the brand. And so we wanted to make that easy, and we saw an opportunity to do that with the combination of what we like to call the Relume brain, which is basically our component library and a styling system paired with AI. We saw opportunities to make that less painful and just easier and just more enjoyable and fun. On top of that, as a consequence of like just exploring that idea, we started to look at, okay, building a design system and a style guide is also really time consuming. And what if that was just in the background working on autopilot as you're exploring concepts? And so what this really does is it brings the idea of like concepting and arriving at a visual direction whilst also building a style guide. So hence the name Style Guide Builder. But you're kind of not thinking about it in the same way as you would previously. It's sort of happening in the background. So yeah, that's kind of the premise of Style Guide Builder, and it really sets you up to finish off that last part of the project where you're taking that wireframe to the next level.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why we built it.
Love it. So good. Well, enough talk. Let's see it in action. But before we do that,
Cool.
let's say hi to the people in the chat. We got Jonathan in the house. What's up, Jonathan? We got Tech Jones, Noor, Abi, Baltazar. Good to see you. We got Parasites. All right. And Eric Odom. What's up, buddy? Damien in the house. Cool. We got a crowd here. Hey, guys, I just want to show. Did you guys take a look at the Dan Petty ad? This just got launched earlier this week, I believe. Was it a couple days ago?
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. So this is a big week for Relume, and we just want to promote what you can do with the Style Guide Builder. So without further ado, let's kick it off, Adam.
Sweet. So I'm going to start by just showing you guys what we're going to build today. So here's a website design that the team put together. And this is what we're going to be using Relume to build. And I'm going to try and get this done in under half an hour whilst also explaining to you, some features and some tips and tricks along the way. So let's jump in. Let's see how we go with that. And yeah, I'm going to basically talk through the process.
Right.
So for those that have never used Relume before, I'm going to just quickly demo the sitemap and wireframe part. And then we're just going to probably focus most of our time in Style Guide Builder and also in Webflow and Figma. So for those that don't know, you can generate a sitemap with AI using Relume. So I have an e-commerce website here, and it's produced a 1 to 5 page e-commerce website. Now, the company today we're focusing on is it's a e-commerce website that sells like cribs or cots for babies.
Nice.
And so that's the context there. And then from here I can sort of restructure my page, see like what will be included on the page from a sitemap level. I can add pages. So if I want to add, like, say, for a careers page, that's like a classic. I can then generate all the empty pages. And now I'm at a point where I have my sitemap sort of done, like completed. And obviously there's a level of editing involved. AI is just that it helps you with that starting point. But
Right.
of course, it's never going to be perfect. And it does require, a human to go through that and edit that and iterate on it. Now, once I've built my sitemap, I can go into the wireframe view, and this is where the magic happens with our component
Look
library.
at that.
And so
Love it. That's
here
fast.
it's choosing. Yeah, here it's choosing. It never gets old, by the way. Like watching that happen. Here it's sort of choosing like the most appropriate components to match, the outline provided in the sitemap. And so from here, you could, before Style Guide Builder, you would like paste this into Figma and Webflow, and you'd continue the process. And because it's built on a design system, you could then update the style guide yourself, and it would make changes applied across the wireframe. And so that was a part that Relume wasn't helping with. But today I'm going to show you Style Guide Builder, which helps you with that part of the process and points you towards a direction that you're happy with, that then you can apply the styling to and the content to and get it to that final part where you're designing and building a website that looks like this.
Beautiful.
So
okay.
As part of this demo, I went ahead and I edited the wireframe. So we're going to be using a wireframe that I've already edited. And we're just going to jump straight into Style Guide Builder. And start talking about all the bits and pieces.
And by the way, guys, if you're expecting like a speed build, this is not exactly that. Adam's gonna pause and give you more all the tips and tricks and like why, the shuffle of the styles and all that stuff. So it's more of a deep dive into how to use this best.
But it's still going to be
There's
speed.
still
But with that,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
still going to push Adam to build this in 5 minutes,
We're still
which
gonna
he
push
claims.
it.
He says, "Hey, look, I could do this 5 minutes tops."
do it.
I'm like, all right.
So it's 10 past. So
All right,
let's
all
just remember that. Cool. So I've got my starting point here. It's not a concept. It's a wireframe still. And the first place I'm going to start is with the colors. And the colors is like probably the most crucial part or foundational element of the design system. It's probably the thing that we spent the most time on getting right out of everything. And just because of the influence it can have over a design. But as you'll see on the left-hand side, we have colors, typography, and UI styling. Now, this is version 1. And these are like the main core, we would call them like the core pillars of the design system. And so I'm going to go through color first and kind of explain to you how I would arrive at a color palette, because this color panel is actually designed to help you arrive at like a complementary color palette. And so a few things. If I press, if I add a color, it's going to start showing me colors that complement the primary main color. And so I can lock that primary main color and, shuffle through a bunch of options until I land on something that I'm happy with. So yeah, I could do this endlessly until I arrive at something, or I could just move forward and pick some more colors as well. So if I add to my palette here, maybe I don't want this color. I could lock in this color. I can still start to explore. Okay, cool. That looks good. Lock that in. And at this point, I'm just, trying to arrive at a color palette that works. Okay, I like that color. And that's essentially how color works. So I might just lock it down to these for now, because I'm pretty happy with that color palette. Like it feels right. It feels, kid friendly, just going back to the theme. And it feels soft. Now, over on the neutrals panel, here is where I can start to control the neutrals color palette. Now, we've made this really easy for you guys. We don't want to overcomplicate things here. Like, we're always aiming for reducing the amount of decisions you need to make, and also reducing the amount of clicks you need to make. But one part of the neutrals that you need to be aware of is the tint. And so the way we've generated like options here is by taking a neutral palette that's, very standard neutral palette. It's just, I guess, the black is hashtag 00000 hex code, and the white is white, and we've sort of applied a percentage increase from there. But the way tints works is it applies one of the colors here over the top of it, and you get like a different neutral shade selection. And so I guess the best way to see this, it's real subtle, but the best way to see this would be to, look at it in dark mode, and you'll be able to see like it's so subtle, but you can start to see there's a different tint. And the reason why that's important is that you want your neutrals to actually have good chemistry with your colors. And so I'm actually going to stick to having the pink tint so that the neutrals just works with, the CTA as well. Over down here, you have all the shades, which you can just copy if you want to copy that. But we're going to be able to import all these as variables into Figma and into Webflow. So I'll show you how that works. For each color, we have the same amount of shades. We have 2 pastels. We have mid-tones, which are like closer to the color that you see. And then we have deep colors. So these are like your darker colors. And this hopefully gives you enough range to apply to interactions, hover states, but also we use these to explore different color schemes, which I'll get into next. So when looking at the design here, I might just go back to the light theme. I can start to explore different color schemes. And so what that means is I can start clicking, say, on the nav, and you'll start to see like I'm shuffling through a bunch of, essentially these are shades
Okay.
of each color. And so let's say that I like this color, but I want to go for something darker. I can hold Command, and it's just going to go up in shades. And so now I can
you're
start
holding Command and clicking, and then it'll shuffle through those shades.
Yes, correct. I can, yeah. So I can just hold Command. I can click directly the shade I want, or I can just click around and sort of explore different options, if that makes sense. But it's going through each color, and then when you press Command, it's going through that one color or their shades. So if you can get a hang of how this works, you can move really quickly. So yeah, bit of something that you'll get used to, but once you do get used to it, it's super quick. On a section level, it's the same. So what you will notice though is that everything in the component changes depending on accessibility criteria. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to, like, our philosophy around, our product is we're trying to reduce the amount of clicks. So one click on Relume is probably equivalent to like 10 plus clicks on Figma or Webflow. To update, the text color, the button color, to check whether it's accessible, all these things require lots of clicks. And so we're trying to do that in one click, because if we can keep compounding these, clicks, then over time, it's just going to make the process much sooner, quicker. And we're able to arrive at the design much sooner. So that automatically changes for you. Before I jump into continue with color, I'm actually going to jump into typography and explain a little bit more about how that works.
Okay.
So let's do that. Okay. So the way typography works is, at a high level, we have our type settings. So here you can adjust the size, you can adjust the weight of the text. And these settings, again, it's one click. It's adapting to the entire design system, which then adapts the whole page. So it's like one click here equals 10 clicks updating that on Webflow and Figma, or if you're building from scratch. So again, just trying to systemize this in a way that makes it super efficient. So let's say that I want larger text across the site. That seems to be on trend. That's how I would do it. Other options would be to use uppercase or use spacious, but I'm going to stick to default. Now, the team has put a lot of effort into making sure that the typography, like the type settings, work across all our components so that you literally can't miss. Like, it should always just look good. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we think about it. We spend a lot of time thinking about how each scenario plays out, because, again, we don't want people to be wasting time. We only want to be showing some good results. Okay, jumping into typography discovery.
Okay.
Like, how do we start to find fonts that are useful to this theme? Firstly, you can start liking fonts, and that's going to show, AI is going to start recommending those fonts to you. AI is going to start recommending fonts that are similar to what you've liked. So I've liked, say, Railway. It's gonna show me another font that's quite similar to Railway.
Very cool.
I can also browse fonts. We had our principal product designer, Andy, put together some collections here, which are really nice. So if you want to quickly find some nice Google fonts, so you can look through this collection. I arrived at, for this design, I used, it's called Biz. It's got a bit of a weird name, Biz UDP Mincho. I'm also going to like that because I want to see some other options match that vibe.
Adam, quick question.
Yeah.
From Yulia, she's asked, are we able to upload fonts not from Google?
Great question. So that was in testing, like the very common question.
Mhm.
We have an exciting release upcoming, which should make that not. Yeah, basically we're partnering with the largest type foundry in the world,
Okay.
which should have over 200,000 fonts, and all the main
Wow.
ones should be there. So instead of uploading, you will be able to just search it, and you'll be able to find it in Relume.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that'll save us a lot of money from buying custom fonts.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to give you
So
the ability
you'll.
to preview
Okay.
these as many as you can, right? Because like in the day, you don't really want to buy a font until you've seen how it works in
Yeah,
the design.
true.
So that will kind of help you save money, but also get you a very good understanding of previewing if that font it works with the design, but also if the
Yeah.
client is going to buy it, you can at least give them a little bit of a preview of what it could look like.
That's a huge time saver too, because the amount of time we all know it takes at least half an hour just to look for a font if you're super fast, but then downloading it and applying it. Okay, cool. All right, let's
Yeah.
move on.
So I'm gonna just stay with this font, but I could explore some other options that in this list that are similar if I wanted to as well. I'm gonna stick with this font though. I think for the body font, I landed on Varela Round. So I feel like
Wow.
this just complements the heading font quite well. It's friendly, it's soft, it's rounded. So yeah, this is typography.
Okay.
I can explore different typographies by shuffling through it. Again, it's going to shuffle based on what you've liked. So keep that in
cool.
mind.
And you
as a
can
way
lock
to
in.
discover more fonts.
You can lock in the
Yeah,
heading or
yes.
the body as well. Okay. Very
Correct.
cool.
So if I just press shuffle, it's going to start showing me similar fonts.
That's a great feature. Like if you just like a certain heading, you can lock that in, and then you can explore different bodies or vice versa. I love that.
Yeah. All right, UI styling, which covers the buttons and the forms and other elements too, but buttons and forms on a marketing site are like the key elements.
It's all about the CTA buttons.
It's all about the CTA buttons. At the top, you can control the border radius for your buttons. So I can, achieve all the border radius that I would need without having to think in numbers. Like you think about that experience in Webflow and Figma where you like type it in numbers. Like that's not how designers think. Like they're visual people. So instead we're giving you fewer options that just make sense. And the way we've approached border radius is that, again, like color, like typography, we've thought about how border radius is used in every scenario of our component library, which has enabled us to come up with a system where border radius is sorted for you. You just need to select, do you want it rounded, rounder, or like really round? And that's all you need to think about. And we've applied it in different values depending on whether it's a large card, whether it's a small card, whether it's a nav bar. We've applied the border radius value for you. So again, just trying to reduce decisions, reduce clicks. Okay, here are the options for UI elements. We will be expanding on these. To be honest, what I like to do with the UI elements is kind of leave it, like design the hero section with the images and kind of leave it as the last thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some assets into this because it's going to help me come up with, better choices on what the colors should be, what the typography and UI styling is. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll start by adding the logo. So I'm just going to add a dark logo for light mode. And I'll add a light logo for dark mode. And that's important as you switch between different light and dark color schemes. it will switch out the logo. So if I were to go to a light scheme, it would use the dark, and then dark scheme, it uses the light.
Very cool.
So I've got my logo there. Now I'm just going to like power through this part. I mean, this part's going to be boring for you guys, but I'll just
this is great.
That's the best
Guys,
part.
if you have any questions, ask it in the chat. We're engaging. We're seeing some.
We do have some questions here, Josh, which we can talk about. So one of the questions has been, will this only just apply to the main page, or will it apply to the entire pages? So so as of today, as you guys can see, Style Guide is being applied to that homepage. However, we are exploring ways of incorporating this into a view, which you can see how the variables will be applied, or how your Style Guide will be applied to entire wireframe. So that's definitely in the pipelines in terms of what we're thinking of coming up next.
Very cool.
Yeah, just to expand on that, like what you will expect is a new tab called Design, which will look like the wireframe tab, but it will be completely based on the concept you arrive at. When we think about, our product, we think about the end-to-end process, and it's very opinionated. And so what we're trying to do here is arrive at a visual direction. Once we have an understanding of what that visual direction is, when you go into the next phase of designing the high fidelity, it should just look like your concept, but applied to the entire site. And it should all be, all the colors, typography, UI elements should be, applied and in place. That's coming. That will be the next evolution of Relume.
Little preview. Okay, nice. You heard it first on the live stream. This is cool. I mean, I love that now you can upload images and it's actually, it looks like its own website instead of the grayscale wireframe with just colors on it.
That's it. It's color TV. We've gone from black and white to color TV.
And
cool. Any other questions before I move on?
One question here, Adam, for us is, will we just be able to export just the variables from a Style Guide into Webflow or Figma?
Good question. You could, technically speaking, you could do it now if you didn't start creating concepts here. And you just use the color generator. You could import only those things. I mean, there wouldn't be too much, you could get it to a point where it wouldn't be too much different to our wireframe, but in isolation, just importing colors at the moment, we don't have that functionality.
No, I think what Baltazar is asking, can you export just the variables?
Not right now. Not just color variables.
Got it.
Not just color. Like when you'll see once we get into it, it exports the entire design system,
which is great.
But I mean, like you could make it super unopinionated, just like our wireframe, and just have colors that are added. But I'll be able to speak more to export once we arrive at the design here.
All right. Okay, what's next?
Cool. All right, so I'm just gonna
look at that. Look at the speed of that.
Designing. So at this point, this is.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, go. No, go, Josh.
Just keep going. But I love this shuffle feature. That is huge because sometimes we don't like the nightmare clients that we experience with. Sometimes we don't know what we want, and so the shuffle is kind of like, like throwing the dice and just like, oh well, I'll know it when I see it, right? And so I like that feature. And also, when you click along too, that's kind of you're shuffling through, but you're using AI to choose for you with all the with all the color theory applied to it, the accessibility. So I love that. Even that's subtle, that yellow with the cards. One's darker, and then the background's a little lighter. So that balance is already done for you. That's pretty awesome. It's amazing.
AI should be, helping with all the micro decisions and less clicks. That's Again, you probably hear Adam and I repeat that consistently, I think, but it's true, right? It should do a lot of the heavy lifting, so you make less of the micro decisions, and also, less clicks to arrive at a final concept. Because yeah, there are other things that you could be focusing on, but also it helps drive that inspiration a lot quicker. I think like one thing you mentioned, Josh, is the design concepts can be hard to be doing different versions with your client back
Yeah.
and forth. There's a story where genuinely Adam and I fired one client and we're really close to firing another client at this stage. So it's really imprinted in our
Yeah.
brains as how we think about this stage of building a website. So for us,
Right.
there's a process where we had to do almost like 10 to 12 different concepts to get it across the line. And
Mm.
I wish we had Relume. I really do.
Wow. Look at that. I love how you can preview it full screen and
Yeah,
and
so
testing
that's just
and
in the bottom
responsively
right
too
corner.
in mobile. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is a
There's
good
so many
section to
features in here.
Yeah, we've been building this for a while. So this is a good example of
Okay.
some of the card styling
Okay, let's get to it. Card design.
functionality.
Let's go.
So card styling, at the moment we have 4, there will be more in the future, but there's different card styling options. So right now this is selecting the default, which has a foreground fill with a border around it. If I don't want any fill, I can have just the outline. If I don't want the outline and just the fill, I can have the fill. And this is applied across the entire site for consistency. Consistency is important, right? And then we have an edgy, which gives me, an outlined view. Now, what's probably not obvious is that if I make an update to the card styling, the selection, the UI elements here, the buttons and forms also update to fit and match that style. So let's say we were using this button. I'm going to go back. If we were to use flat, it would use more flat buttons.
Oh.
If we were to use the outline, it would use the outline. And that's because we're trying to make, essentially goes back to one of our principles, is like, you can't miss. Like, it should always just look good and work together. And so this is one part of the product where we've really like tried to focus in on not missing and pairing the right elements with the right card styling.
Okay, so this feature, the cards and images section here, it's like an overall styler, but then if you want to go minute into the details of just the buttons alone, then you would go in here and then it would update. Yeah, okay.
Yes,
got it.
yeah.
Okay, so be careful on that, guys. You might override your style of the button if you are exploring in the cards and images section.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with this for now. I'm pretty happy with this design. All right, let's rapidly. This is like the part where I just have like painful memories of, I'd present a concept to a client. I'd probably present like 3, to be honest. Client said like, I don't really like any of them. Can you do a 4th one? It got to like the 7th round, and like creatively, like I was just drained. I couldn't do it. I couldn't think of anything more. I was frustrated. You know how it is. And so this feature like is designed to help you get out of that. So what you can do is you can create a new concept. I like to duplicate, just because duplicating, I can keep the same base, and then now I can start to explore different options. So let's say that I want to, explore. I'm gonna just like unlock all the colors. I'm gonna keep this body text,
right?
But everything else, I'm just gonna like go over here and press surprise me.
Ooh.
And just and I might click this like
That's
a lot of
nice.
times just to sort of see like what I can arrive at by pressing this. Now, this is V1 of this feature.
Okay.
It works, but we're going to be improving this. We're going to be making it a whole lot better.
Okay.
But here we can start to see it's shuffling through a bunch of options for a concept. So maybe I like this one. I can then duplicate that. And then I've got my 3rd concept.
Oh,
Okay,
interesting.
cool.
So
Let's
even
just,
the
Yeah,
number of
that's cool.
colors changes too. It's not necessarily the same. So this is a
yeah,
wild card button. Very cool.
yeah.
Pretty much.
So here is another concept. All
Oh,
right,
wow.
so I've got my 3 concepts. To be honest, I might just go for something that's a serif, just to a sans serif, just to sort of differentiate this concept a little more. And then I might just like make it a little smaller. I'll go with bold. I actually really don't like that font, so let me see if there's anything else.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, let's just land on
Yes,
this.
that's
I
the
might
one.
just
That's
drop
the
this
one.
back. Okay, cool. Now it's time to show the client some concepts. I can go pitch concepts. I can copy this link and share it to them. And what they'll receive
Whoa.
is a view of the design concepts and provide feedback on which one they like. Per
Wow.
concept, you can change images as well. So if you want to make it even more different, like the image treatment could be different. But here I have sort of 3 different concepts. And at this point, the client will choose which one they like and go from there.
Guys, just to let you know, this was literally under 30 minutes. This is with Adam
Yeah.
talking a lot. And within 30 minutes, if you share this, even guys, that's a hack. If you just even share that layout there, can you go back there and all the concepts? If you just do a Loom and video capture and then send this to your clients within 30 minutes, that's a lot of value, guys. That's pretty crazy.
All right, so we're pretty happy with the concept. I'm actually going to just continue with concept 1 because that's what we're building towards. Now it's time for export. I'm going to quickly demo Figma, but honestly, now that I have my assets, like I probably wouldn't go to Figma. I'd just go straight into Webflow.
Of course.
But if I wanted to show the client, Figma, here's my Figma design, I could do that. Now, the first step is you want to open the Figma kit and then you want to install the Relume plugin. So I'm just going to go over to Figma. I'm going to press open. So this is like required in order to, you need this file so that you can import and it hooks up to the design system.
Adam, while that's loading, I got a question by Carlos. He's saying currently exporting the concepts via Go full page screen capture with the Chrome extension. Is there a way to export and download the concepts?
All of the concepts?
To export and download the concepts, yeah.
Not at the moment, no. The
No,
way
so
around this,
the way that we do that, Carlos, sorry, I was to say the way that we do that is you take it to what I'm just going to show now into Figma, and then you can download that, export
Cool.
as a PDF. So you'll be able to
Oh, nice.
export
Okay.
here, export that frame as a PDF, and you're good to go. So it's an extra click, but not that much of a workaround.
All right. So make sure you guys download the Relume plugin in Figma. Here we go. Oh, this is
So
new. Okay.
here I can import my style guide and concept.
Oh.
I pick the concept I want. I press continue. Now this is going to take probably a few minutes. So stretch your leg. All right, let's stretch.
While we're doing, let's talk about the superpowers that you can like upselling the value of this using the style guide builder. Dan or Adam, you guys have a lot of experience with clients. How is this gonna, just streamline your process, and maybe how do you even charge more for that?
Yeah, I think one of the most important parts here is the fact that when you're going to invest a lot of time in the design phase,
Mm-hmm.
the whole goal along the way when you're working with a client is buy-in, right? You want initial buy-in, and when you get that initial buy-in, it significantly improves the probabilities of you landing that final design, landing a wireframe, whatever it is. At every stage, you want buy-in, right? So with the design, with Style Guide and showing concepts, for us, saving time is obviously saving money. So in order for them to have buy-in, saying, I like concept 1,
Mm-hmm.
or I like concept 2, that's golden, right? That's what you want. Because then when you then go and iterate more on concept 1 or concept 2, you have a lot of confidence to know you can invest a lot of your time and hours into extending that design, and know that at that final point, when you come back and present final design, final, you're gonna nail it, right? So for us, it's always improving probabilities of them having buy-in, because that just means you invest your 5 hours, that's going to come back with a result. So yeah, that's where
Nice.
a lot of the value you're going to get leveraging something like a style guide.
So it seems like it's a massive time saver, because I think the majority of time that's spent on a project is really the coordination between yourself and the client on especially style. And that's why a lot of agencies actually, like I think even FinSuite, for example, they've gone away from the design side and just focus more on development, because it's just such a headache going back and forth with those conversations.
And the other part, which Adam has created a really cool YouTube video about, which you can expand upon, is the sales side, right? So not just in the initial phase, or not just in this current design phase of the job to be done, but it's also in the phase of selling. So when you are looking to get a concept across the line, whether or not you're working with a small business, large business, you can leverage these visual concepts to sell what Relume could potentially look like. So yeah, Adam's got a really cool YouTube video about it, which you can watch on our channel. But yeah, for us, it's covering both bases of the sales and
nice
saving time on the design side. So how many time? Wow, 5.5.
I love this. So
we waited 30 seconds, but we saved what,
5.5
hours. Wow.
Yeah, so as
like
you can
that.
see here, I've got my concept pasted in. I can start editing that concept. It's built with Figma's best practices. It's actually built by humans, experts that understand Figma, understand auto layout, understand how variables fit in. And so if I go over to my variables panel, I've got all my colors that I need. So I've got all my color schemes.
Wow.
I've got all my primitive variables from the color palette. Every single shade's just added in.
Can you expand that window?
And I've got my UI styling as well. Yeah, sure.
All right. So we got
primitive variables. So these are all the colors, the raw colors.
Nuts.
All loaded in. And then we have our color schemes, which is a new concept we've introduced to really simplify the way we think about colors. Instead of thinking about colors like primary, secondary, tertiary, and thinking about color in a way where you're thinking about it on an individual element basis, we've simplified it by thinking about it in terms of components and applying schemes. So you only really need to understand or know, do I want this to be color scheme 1 or 2 or 3? And we sort out what the text is going to be, the foreground, the background, the border accent for you. Or you can edit it yourself. But having this mental model now around color schemes helps you simplify. So as an example, let me just sort of show you an example.
Guy, that's
here
crazy.
We have a section. Yeah, here we have a section and it's using color scheme 1. This section's using color scheme 2. Now, if I want to update all my color scheme 2s, let's say I want color scheme 2's text to be this maroon color. I go into my variables panel. I go to color scheme 2. I go to text. I find that maroon color I've been using, which is Frolly Darkest. And now across Frolly Darkest, it's going to be that maroon color. Across the design, everywhere that scheme 2 is used, like here as well. So this concept of color schemes, we're really excited about, and we've brought that into Figma and Webflow. And to be honest, we've done so much research on color systems, and there wasn't anything out there that we were happy with. So we've come up with our own approach specifically for marketing websites, which you'll be able to see how that works in Webflow. It's even more awesome in Webflow. Let's go over to the style guide. Here we've loaded in all the styles as well. So you can show your client, here's a design system. You can add your logo in here and it will update everywhere.
Nuts.
That's all loaded in with your updated type settings, buttons, etc. So that's Figma. As I said, for this demo, I was only using Figma for the assets, but even the images were used with Midjourney. So every image here is created with AI, including these product shots. So I've put these into Figma just as a way to create cutouts. So that's what I'm using Figma for. Let's jump into Webflow because that's where I can actually publish a site. So no shade.
Guys, if you like that, please hit like on this video. That was mind-blowing. It's a full-on design system. And again, just think, if you're in a team, now you have a full professional design system to work with, and that's just mind-blowing. Really, really crazy.
Yeah, and typically building a design system or updating was not fun. And so we've tried to make it feel fun. We've tried to make the process feel like play as well. So hopefully, there's less pain involved in setting up a system for you. Okay, let's jump into Webflow. For Webflow, I need to clone the style guide and then install our Webflow app. So I'm going to go ahead and clone the style guide.
People are loving it, guys. I got some comments here. Very cool.
Okay.
I've been waiting for
here.
color
I'm just going to
schemes.
put
This is great.
Nesta demo.
Nice.
Aurelian says, this is so exciting. Well done. People are loving it.
Nice.
Thanks, Aurelian. Okay, so the import process for Webflow is going to be sort of the same amount of time, but we'll see how that goes. So you'll want to go to our Webflow app. If you don't have the Webflow app, there's a link in here where you can go directly to it. Once I have the Webflow app, same process as Figma. I find my project, which is this one, and I choose the concept. Which concept do I want? And I want concept 1. I press continue and I start importing. And I just let Relume do its magic. And so, yeah.
Okay, question on this. Okay, this is so cool when it's all building out. When you apply when you're importing the concept, it says apply on all pages. Is that automatic, or can you choose certain pages?
You can choose certain pages to import. So it's going to import everything for you, including all your pages. So if you just want to import like just the home page, you could do that. But the actual system is applied to the entire website. So yeah, it's basically, that's how it works.
And so when you update another concept, can you then re-import that new concept style on the existing project and update it?
No.
Okay.
No. So that creates a lot of mess
duplicates
in your project.
Whatnot.
Yeah. So we've tried to make that as clear as possible, that you cannot upload multiple concepts, because that ultimately just leads to a bad experience in Webflow. So you'll have to create a new project and go through the entire process again.
Got it. So by the time, basically, when you're at the stage of importing the style guide and the design system into Webflow, you should already have selected and finalized the colors, the style.
Yeah. Correct. Well, that's why we've built the pitch concepts tool. That's why we've built concepting, because we want you guys to use it to like arrive at a design, or you can use Figma as well. What I'm going to show you once this is loaded is that it's close. Like the output is close once we see it, but there's that like last 10% or 20% of like touches that you can make that can make the website so much better. And so this is the beauty of using Relume. It's like you now have this time to really finesse things and take it to that next level, and just focus on things that are going to resonate with your client and also your client's customers. I mean, that's the most important thing. I think pleasing your client's really important, but your goal is to help your client resonate with their customers. And so humans know how to do that. AI can help you, but you know what resonates with humans. So yeah, this is just the opportunity to make it go to that next level in terms of craft and like interactions, etc., but also tweak things to build a high performing website. So that's what Relume gives you the time to do. And so what I'm going to do in this demo is I'm going to just remove the instructions here. I'm going to show you what it looks like currently without any edits.
All right, guys, this is where the magic happens. You're gonna add that like extra little pop. See Adam's mad skills in action.
So we're pretty close at this point. Let me see where this is.
And for those of you wondering,
do this.
This is based off of the client first framework. This is like a class naming section. Class naming framework.
That's right. So here's the equivalent of the design system in Webflow. Here are where all the color schemes are. Here are all the UI elements that you can update as well. And so if I make a change there, it'll change across my entire website. For instance, let's say I want to update all the text, because actually I'm looking at this text and it's a little bit tight, the line height. I could just do that and it would update across all. So, just doing some adjustments there. I'm going to talk about schemes in Webflow again, just quickly. So here we have a combo class. This is using the client first framework. Here I can quickly just go to another scheme. So I could go to scheme 1, which is the pink scheme. I could go to scheme 5, which I think is the dark scheme, and see how it just like starts to invert. I can also apply schemes to cards. So we recommend using schemes on cards and sections only. So if I want to, make this card white, I can do that too. And so I'd make both cards white.
Can you try scheme 5 and just to see what other colors that?
Sure.
So just for the one card.
And I think this is a good opportunity to also talk about where these schemes are coming from. Like,
that's so cool. Wow.
Yeah, you'll notice you'll remember when I was doing the concept, I was like shuffling through colors. I'm actually at this point choosing my schemes that will then get added into Webflow and Figma. So this, which is why we've also enabled, like focused on color here, because part of the design system is choosing the color schemes. Now, once I have my chosen color schemes, we will then take those color schemes and AI will help you apply it across the rest of your website. That's what's going to happen next for Relume. But at the moment, you have to do that yourself in Webflow.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's where schemes are derived from. And so I'm just going to revert back and clean this up. I mean, if there's any questions, happy to answer those whilst I work my magic here.
Could you quickly go to the variables page and just like kind of quickly look under the hood and how it exported the design system? Because I want to see how robust this is. All right, guys, here we go. So we got primitives, color schemes. Ooh, okay. Ooh, I love this stuff. I don't know if you guys are watching Nerds Out about design system, but this is nuts. Okay, so you got just a bunch of
primitives,
colors. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you got color schemes.
Color schemes.
Which are now linked to the primitive colors, or all the different colors. Okay.
Correct. At the moment, the color scheme 1 is at the bottom. Due to Webflow's API, we weren't able to make that number 1. So there is the first scheme is at the bottom.
Minor bugs, but it's all good.
Minor bugs, but it's a V1. Then we have our typography. This is where we can control typography. You'll notice that the typography gets automatically loaded in as well, which is pretty nice. So one less click thing you have to set up. So that's good. Then we have our UI styles.
Okay.
So we have.
That's really simple.
Yeah, we've tried to keep it really simple. One thing we don't want to do is create a bloated system. We don't think that's going to be the most scalable, best system out there. So we're trying to keep, like, every variable needs to count. So yeah, that's something that we're very conscious of. In terms of the radius, what this means is that we have large radius for large cards, medium radius for like medium size elements, and small radius for small. Now, because I've chosen a border radius that is just like sort of round, not too round, we've applied the same values for all of them. However, if I were to choose the really round, we apply different border radius depending on the element. So for the nav, it's like circular here, but then for this big image, it's like quite round. But then for this smaller card, actually these smaller cards, it's slightly less rounded. So that's how we think about border radius, is where it should work with different scenarios, but ultimately give you that feel of, yeah, this is round. So that would show up differently as values here, because I went with the not so round, like it's the same.
They're all the same.
That was
Got
our
it,
thinking.
got it.
Yeah.
But then
we have border width.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Then we have border width and divider width. So this is like on the borders. Do you want to have borders at all? If you do, how thick do you want the borders? You can control that here. So for instance, like I think we got one border divider width. In my footer, I'm using like a divider width here. I can go here, jump into this. I'll make it 2 pixels. And then I'm going to also go to my color schemes. And for color scheme 1, I'm going to make the border neutral darkest. And now that's presented. And so everywhere there's a divider now, it will be black with 2 pixels. And I don't have to worry about updating it. I've just done it. And it's all going to feel cohesive.
And guys, this is a reminder, like, to work within the design system, because if you do that, it'll apply it everywhere on the site. Whereas if you go in and nitpick individually and then add a new like custom class, it's just not going to apply everywhere. So I think it's a different mind shift when you're designing in this way and at scale, especially if you're in teams. Learn how the design system works. And so this is why we do these streams.
Exactly. So I'm going to put together, there was a bit of instructions for this nav to make it work. I'm just going to quickly put together this nav, set it up so that it's ready to go. So I'm just going to make it fixed. Let's see. I got to delete this class. Again, there was instructions for this, which I removed. And then I'm going to make this fixed top of the page. So now it's sticky. That's cool. I'm going to just adjust the padding here. So this is like taking it to the next level.
Yeah. This is adding the cherry on top, guys.
Yeah. One of the things that we haven't touched upon yet, but we're going to move towards, is spacing. Spacing is like probably the 4th most important thing outside of color, typography, and UI elements. Arguably could be more influential than UI styling in some regards. And spacing is something we're going to build a system around, and we're going to make it really easy to update in Relume. But I'm just going to make some like core changes to tighten up the spacing between sections using the system. So here I'm editing the padding. For the container, I actually want this container to be a bit wider. And then for the page padding, I want that to be like half the amount. So I'm just going to like shift things around a little bit and adjust the spacing, because that's going to give me a different look and feel altogether.
Nice.
Let's go 2.5%, 2.5%. Cool, that's in line. Because this is a bit of a trickier component, I'm just going to make this 2.5 and I'm going to make this 39. Cool. Actually, I can make this 40. Quick math on that. Cool. So now that's looking good. Pretty happy with this section as well. I guess if I were to really try and take this to another level, I would probably get this footer component, which I'm just going to expand again and make it like sticky. So I'll take the testimonial And I'll just group. Oh,
Can I ask a question here from the audience?
yeah.
Aurelian's
do it.
asking, what will happen if you import multiple pages? I guess if you're doing it from the wireframe side, you can just
Into Webflow. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
put
can you
it into
clarify that?
if you put it into Webflow, we'll apply default. So we will still apply the variables to this, but you won't be able to kind of necessarily define what scheme you want. Or we will make one.
Got it.
Here, and we'll do it here. Like we'll make one. We'll put the default scheme on top of it, but obviously then you can go into Webflow and make more changes.
Okay, and then another follow-up question from Jim. He says, once you've imported this whole, like the scheme and everything to Webflow, later after, can you then go back to Relume, the site builder, and then add additional page in your project, and then import those additional pages into the Webflow?
That's what
doing
I'm
it
doing
right now.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
So I've just created a product page.
Oh, cool.
And now I'm just going to go back into this project, and I'm going to go to the app, and then I'm going to add the pages.
This is nuts.
Ooh,
I'm already thinking RDL multiplayer action where one person's in the site builder building not the other pages, and then another person in Webflow we'll just import it. Boom. That's nuts.
Importer.
Yeah, so here we're adding the product page.
There you go.
So this is good time to explain what's happening here.
Okay.
Firstly, I'm just going to remove the instructions. Okay, good opportunity to explain. It's now going to use so this is the product page. It's now going to use scheme 1 because remember we haven't done that part yet. So it's up to you now to just take each section and choose the scheme that you want. So, if you want it to be white instead of this like salmon color, I think that's scheme 2. I can do that. And so I just need to now work through adding my content and swapping the schemes. And I'm like, I'm there. But this is the next part that we're going to be able to automate for you.
Nice.
So yeah, that's how you would work through. Exactly. That's the point of the upcoming design view.
Okay.
So
the design view will deal with multiple pages or just one?
Multiple, the entire website. So
wow.
All the pages here, imagine all these pages, but now they
colored
look
and styled.
like this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to click and shuffle through schemes.
Wow.
So then when you import it into Webflow or Figma, it's going to have your schemes. But effectively, you're making the schemes inside that design view.
That is nuts. Okay, so
it just comes back to...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it just comes back to that. It just comes back to that job to be done, right? Like, you want to be able to work with that client. And I think having a reason why we're looking at design view is, again, we're enabling you to get more buy-in with the client so you can help them visually see, because it's a very visual thing. Design is a visual medium, right? So for them to have buy-in on a concept and then buy-in on the entire wireframe, we'll see it on like 5 pages. It gets them excited, gets them bought in, and it gets them really motivated to see you expand that design moving forward. So that's what the purpose of design view is. Just going to, again, we're, like Adam said at the start, we are building this to intentionally help you solve the job to be done of creating a website.
Nice. Oliver, here's your shout out, my friend. Let's go. Let's go. That's pretty sweet.
Nice work, Ollie.
Hey guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, you like, hit the bell notification. Yes, I'm one of those dudes that will remind you of that. But guys, this is fire. This is pretty awesome. Hey, we're over an hour now, so just keep that in mind. I'm sure there are tons of other things that we can dive into. We're going to be doing more of these live streams because as you heard, there are a lot of updates down the road. So If you have any questions, show up on the live streams, and this is kind of like online workshops. You guys can ask away. We're going to be giving you all the latest and greatest tips and tricks. So if you like this,
That's right.
let us know.
Part of
That's
doing
it,
this
yeah.
live stream, we want to do it more often because our product's just going to, in the next 12 months, our product's going to change a lot and it's going to evolve rapidly. We're building like the foundations of it, and the process of designing a website is going to change too. So we want to keep this like regular cadence to show like new ways that you can use Relume. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
So what Adam's doing now, he's just finessing with the animations. I think he's playing with the, it's just like sticky, with the
Ooh,
nav.
nearly there.
And I think he was
Nearly
playing
there.
earlier with the footer, that's always the new trend, right? Like the reveal footer. So you guys can pause, rewind, and just kind of see what he's doing, finessing with the animation settings here.
But what do we?
Yes,
so Adam started this at 11:10, right, Josh? 11:10. So
it's been just under an hour.
Just under an hour, and I would say, commercially speaking, we're getting close to something that I believe we could have sold potentially as a final website. But yeah, obviously it's very client specific. So that depends on who you're working with as a client. But the point is that in an hour, we've gotten to something at least 80% there, right? From a design perspective now, not
More
just
than
from
80.
a wireframe perspective.
Yeah.
You know, well, subjective. Let's
right.
We'll land on 80. But of course, it could be more depending on who you're working with from a client perspective. But yeah, in under an hour, Loomers, we've gone from nothing to a pretty, I'd say, a really good concept here, which is not far. This is also live. You can publish this website, so you're not actually just designing the pixels. It's a published version.
Hey, do you think we should share the link in the chat? See if people can preview it themselves?
Let's do it. What do you reckon, Adam? You have, let's say,
I'm just
3 more minutes. The 1 hour challenge is
guys, I can't wait. I can't wait to actually do a speed build, and without Adam talking through his process, I want to see how fast we can push this.
That's it.
It just seems like the big value here is saving time, because if you want to take advantage of AI, it's being super productive, right? And so you can charge your number of websites increases, and also now I think there's just a lot of tools here where you can coordinate with a team as well. And so just learning how to scale a team, scale your output, it's pretty amazing.
100%.
Yeah, I think,
Josh, so you go, Adam.
A lot of website builders, they're claiming speed as like a value proposition. Like, from day one, we've always been about speed, and it's super important to us. We're trying to optimize that. But I think what we're really trying to do now is getting to good output faster, not just an output, like good output. So, I think with Webflow's AI site building, people come up, what do you think about it? I think it's serving a need that I think it's focused and targeted on people coming to Webflow for the first time and trying to figure it out and get like a first version working. But I think, which is great, and I think they've nailed it. Really, like I think they've done a great job of that. Now, what we're focused on is like really appealing to, again, the job to be done, the professional designer, and helping you get to a high performing website. And we believe design's, critical to that. And so we want to be getting you to a design that we believe will actually lead to the most conversions, lead to your clients, customers resonating with it. And so that's our mission, and we're going to continue to do that. And so, yeah, I think we think about things a little differently to Webflow. And I think ultimately we're going to be arriving at different tools that will coexist, but will just be different depending on your use case. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. It's like we are very focused on creating websites that are beautiful, very fast, not just creating a website fast. Yeah.
So good. We have Carlos here. Thanks for just being active in the chat. He said, imagine having this when startup weekends events used to happen, right? You win every pitch. Or even guys like, yeah, I mean, you go to a conference or something and you have a conversation. Guys, you could pitch like crazy. Like say you talk to some startup and they're like, okay, well tell me about this. And then you put in the prompt and then maybe you come back like a couple hours later and just, hey, by the way, what do you think of this? Like, guys, that's massive. Just think of the possibilities.
For sure. It gets conversations going. When you have something relevant to the person's company or the person's business, it gets that conversation. It sparks that first initial, hey, you are Nesta. We're not interested. Hey, Nesta, here's 3 concepts that we thought about for you.
Right.
Relevant, your copy, your brand. And yeah, it changes the conversation. So like we were saying before, leveraging it in the sales process just helps you really unlock a lot of opportunities to open up more conversations with more clients, impress them. First impressions really count when you're meeting clients for the first time or even doing cold calling with Relume, right? So leveraging it there, and then once you get that buy-in, using Relume throughout your whole process is just going to save you time, as I'm showing you here. Leveraging Relume to create visual concepts and create style guides in a matter of minutes is just going to speed up that process. So time is money. As an agency, you want to save time, but not compromise on quality. Let AI leverage AI to help you make a lot of the micro decisions, remove the heavy lifting, and also just solve that blank canvas problem so you can be inspired as to like what you want to go down next. So yeah, Relume equals less clicks.
And again, less click equals less time.
That's it.
So the big question is, what are you guys gonna do with the 5.5 or 3.5 hours that you saved? You know, take a nap or what? Go to the gym. You know, you can be fitter now. You can, or maybe get more clients.
Take on another 3.
Yeah, that's the
projects.
question. Yeah, or get more projects.
Increase your project rate.
Back.
More life. Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, time is money. It's true, right? I mean, it'll be really interesting to see how people use this and apply it to their workflows. Okay, I want to get to the money question, Dan. I mean, you've dealt with a lot of projects in your agency days. With a project like this, let's just say this is a 1-page landing page, right? How much would you charge just based on the quality, ballpark? Like, what's the minimum? What's the minimum that you could probably charge if you were still in the agency?
Minimum on this 1-pager with this current design output and current consideration of like how this could, solve Nesta's problems or be an optimal website for Nesta. I'd say minimum of 10K. Obviously,
USD.
I'd probably get.
Wow.
Adam, I think we'd probably spend 2 to 3 more full days on this in terms of time, deep work. So I think for another 2 to 3 days cost, I think it'd be something along the ranges
minimum.
Of 5 to 10K.
5 to 10K.
I think.
Let's just go bottom. Conservative 5K. So
5K bottom. Yeah.
Well,
10K if you took it to another level.
Can I
it's
add
all
to this?
subjective here, guys.
I think the point Dan made though, is like, how much value is this website creating for Nesta?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so when you think about it, you have more time now to start thinking about, okay, I can explore more ideas. I can build faster. I should be A/B testing and trying to optimize. Let's say if Nesta did have a lot of traffic. And when you can start showing those kinds of results, like this is what this design is doing for you, like that's so valuable to a client. They start to see you differently. So that's super valuable. But imagine rocking up to your first call with Nesta. And like they already have a website. You bring on the first call, you've just imported the sitemap, Nesta's sitemap into Relume, right? And you can do that on Relume. We're working on a easier way to find this, but you can import via URL. You rock up to the call and you have like their entire sitemap just laid out. And you go, hey, by the way, like I had a look over your sitemap. Here it is. Most clients would have never even seen that before. They don't actually have an idea of how many
Yeah.
pages they have. And then you hit them with, and just to get the ball rolling with concepts, here are some like first versions. Of course, I need to run this past the design team, but I want to get your check on like, here are some visual concepts, like which do you think would be better? And then that's your first call versus, you know, another freelancer or agency competing with that doesn't do that.
Mhm.
Like, I just think you're going to be able to close more deals that way. And then they value time. Like if they can get it tomorrow,
Right.
they'll value that. So that's valuable. So saving time is actually valuable. So how you pitch and frame the sale, like I think, yeah, can lead to different outcomes financially. Yeah.
So good. Well,
Sweet.
what do you
Well,
think?
that's
Should we
it.
wrap
Here's my
that up?
site.
Done.
Let's publish it.
Publish it. Let's share the link in the chat. We got Mr. Bujazia in the house. What's going on? Okay, we got Jim says 5K for turning the knob, 20K for knowing what knob to turn. Yeah. Hey, and look,
Yeah, 100%.
we just helped you generate 5K. Why don't you spend a fraction of that into Relume? If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. There's a little plug.
Subscribe today.
Subscribe today. Look at that. That's cool. And so we got it in mobile as well. So you got to finesse. So
Yeah.
okay, so I think that's good, right? We'll wrap that up. We're over an hour. What can we expect in like the next stream? What kind of ideas?
Yeah, so I'm keen on inviting some creators on that can just co-create with us. For instance, you know, we've been exploring like a lot of mid-journey asset creation. Would love to get Nick St. Pierre back on our stream for that. So shout out to Nick St. Pierre if he's there listening. And yeah, I'd love to collaborate with more creators, bring more people onto the stream that can extend Relume and you know, create better output and better designs with Relume as well. So would love to do that. Would love to demo new upcoming features. We're going pretty hard. Our roadmap's very exciting. So hopefully in the future streams we have the design view. We have just other features coming up in the pipeline.
Awesome. Exciting things ahead, guys. And this is not even a week old. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. I'm excited to explore more personally as well. And so, yeah, I think we'll probably wrap it up. Dan, any final words?
Yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can continue to drive more value for our Loomers and help them win.
Amazing, guys. All right, thanks for joining. We're going to be uploading this in a more specially edited version. And thanks for your questions. And I think that's it, guys. Right? Anything else? We're good?
That's it.
We're good.
Have a good one.
See you guys.
Have a great week. We'll see you guys next time. Okay. See ya.
Bye.